You know, there are a lot of things I could be angry about. War, poverty, disease, the fact that there are still some people who think George W. Bush is doing a good job. But I don't want to fall into the traps of blaming Americans for everything. It happens a bit in the rest of the world, for those Americans who don't know. Now, I know you didn't all vote for George W. Bush. In fact, not even a majority of you did. But there is one thing, I have to let this out. There's one thing I'm angry at Americans generally for. It's the continual, willful, and non-stop desecration of the English language. It just isn't good enough and it has to stop. I mean, just learn the language. It's not that hard. It's existed for a very long time. There are a lot of good books. Read one or two of them and find out how to use the language properly. I do want to make this clear. I'm not opposed to slang, making up new words. That's great. It's a living language. But don't use words wrongly. That is not the sign of a living language. That is a sign you're a fucking knucklehead. Okay? Just learn the proper words for things. There are so many examples of this. God, where do I start? You know, the problem is if you take a perfectly good word and then arbitrarily change its meaning. You can't do that. That isn't a living language. That is a sin against nature. It's just wrong. And I'll tell you what, you want the example, the one that drove me completely nuts when I was in America? Biscuits. Alright? Now, I'm not talking about the American tendency to call biscuits cookies, okay? You can make up a new word. I'm fine with that. Call them biscuits, cookies, Evies, Jabberwockies. Hell, Snoop Dogg can call them bizzles manizzles. I'm fine with new words. But that isn't what happens, is it? No, you don't call biscuits cookies, you call scones biscuits. Now, you can make up a new word for scone if you like, but you can't just take an existing word and give it a different meaning. I mean, structured language is what separates us from the animals. Society is going to go down the toilet. We're going to hell in a handbasket because you can't be bothered to use the right words. What are you thinking? Now, I mean it. This is a serious topic. Check your Bibles. It's in Revelations, people. The first sign of the apocalypse is when people start randomly reassigning words. You just can't do it. Nobody knows what anyone means. Dogs sleeping with cats, fiery rain from the skies, eternal damnation because you insist on calling scones biscuits. Are you happy? Are you happy now? Now, you seem like reasonable people. So I'm going to tell you the one thing that really pushed me over the edge on this thing. I was in a cake shop, I think it was in Los Angeles, and they were selling what I would call rock cakes. They were these sort of big mound-like cookies, heavy things, and do you know what they called them? Scones. I was just going to grab them and say, this is not a scone. If anything, this one's a biscuit. That fluffy thing over there, that light fluffy jam scone. God, that's a scone. It's not a biscuit. This is not a scone. It's a biscuit. What the hell is wrong with you? You know what? They treated me like I was the crazy one when I just went to them, this is a biscuit, this is a scone, and they wouldn't pay attention. So I bounced their head off the counter and I'm saying, this is biscuit, this is scone, this is biscuit, this is scone. What's wrong? What's wrong? Biscuit, scone, what? And then they had to call the police and there was a big scene and they wouldn't believe it that I was right and they were wrong, and it's all got to do with being deported, and that's why I wear the mask, people, because the feds are still looking for me because it's a goddamn conspiracy. Just because I want to make people speak a fucking language properly, they've got to go all bloody Guantanamo Bay on my ass. Well, you know, fuck it, okay? Fuck it. I'm sick of it. Christ, don't even get me started when they brought in the psychiatrist and they think there's something wrong with me. Why didn't they bring in an English teacher? That would have been okay. Bring in an English teacher. I don't want to talk to a psychiatrist. There's nothing wrong with me. It's all about the biscuits and the... My high school English teacher would have kicked their ass. She was 80 years old, but you did not mess with her. You messed up your past participles, your verbs, your tense. She would cut your balls off. That's my throat, not my balls, but I don't want to show my balls on camera, and I'm sure you're all appreciating that. Too much to ask? Is it too much to ask? Just forget it, okay? Forget it. You don't care. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. It's a losing medal. What the hell is wrong with